We roll on with three-round mock drafts for the pick number 19, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the offense is in pretty good shape, especially after they added Bucky Irving last year. This year, I'm focusing on the defense. I have one player for all three levels to improve that Tampa Bay defense under Todd Bowles. I'm Jeremy Green of NFLDraft.net and ESPN Radio Asheville, and this is the three-round mock draft for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I get knocked down, I get back up.
The Sportsocracy.
And I'm unapologetic.
We started pick 19 with a position that I think is a huge need for Tampa Bay, and it's on the right side of that defense at corner. This could be the first player in the history of the NFL draft to have ever played for the same coach that I did. Pride of East Carolina, pick number 19, Shavon Revel Jr. out of East Carolina. Mike Houston, my guy, was his coach, and this dude is an absolute dog. He got hurt last year. The medical's going to be a big deal on him. I can already hear people telling me that this is too high for him. I don't think it is, because you go back and watch the raw tape on him, especially after the SMU game of his sophomore year. That's where he really became an absolute star. Coverage grade surged. I think this kid's one of the best corners in this class. If you look at the raw data from last year, he only played 3 games. Coverage grade was an 85.4 according to PFF, allowed a 38% completion percentage, had a zone coverage grade of almost 80. I think this kid can be an eventual number one starter in the league. He's got good length at 6'3", 190. He's a little undersized, not necessarily as good of a tackler as you want him to be, but still surprisingly good for as small as he is. I have Revel in my top 20 of players overall in this class, and I think he would be a steal and a perfect scheme fit for Todd Bowles at pick number 19 here in the first round. Pick 51 in the second round, I'm going to add to the linebacking core of this defense. Yes, I know there's a great chance that Levante David's coming back, but whether he is or not, he either needs somebody to run with him or they need a replacement for him, and a guy that I think fits this defense perfectly, and he's one of my favorite players in this draft. Demetrius Knight Jr., linebacker out of South Carolina. He's also the first guy that's made me scrunch the name in because he has a really long name. You look at him, what he did last year, really good against the run. I think he is a strength-on-strength player initially, but I also think he does have the potential to be a three-down player. He was a pretty good pass rusher at South Carolina, even though they didn't ask him to do that a ton. He also held up pretty well in coverage. 11% missed tackle rate, not exactly what you're looking for, so he does have to become a better tackler. But in terms of just raw talent, played 253 run defensive snaps last year, 289 in coverage, only 30 in pass rush. But if you look at what Tampa Bay does that fits with the scheme, it makes a lot of sense. This kid absolutely crushed it in Mobile at the Senior Bowl. I couldn't stop watching him. I kept looking for that helmet, and it seemed like he was always around the ball. He is not going to last much past this. Be a great value at pick 51 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know that somebody's going to say, but they don't have a pass rusher. They've invested a lot in pass rushers, but there is a guy that I think is a really good scheme fit to be on the opposite side of Kalijah Kancey. You give me this kid, Kancey, and Vita Vea, and I think you get enough from that front with Yaya Diaby and Joe Tryon-Shoyinka that's enough that this defense could be much better next year in terms of rushing the passer. At pick 83, Jared Ivey, edge out of Ole Miss. He lost a little bit of the luster because he had Princely Amunmalayan and Walter Nolan on that team. Still had a 90.8 pass rush grade last year, almost a 17% pass rush win rate. He's 6'6", 285. He projects perfectly for me in that 3-4 defensive end role. He was one of the highest rated defensive linemen in the country last year. He's unheralded because there's just not a lot about him that's sexy. But, man, he can get after quarterbacks, and he does it routinely. I also think he can be a nice piece in a 4-man front as a hybrid defensive tackle. He and Kancey with almost a NASCAR package, the way the Giants did it back in the day. That is a great way to make up for 2 undersized edges on the outside. I absolutely love the scheme fit for Jared Ivey, edge rusher out of Ole Miss, right here at number 83 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do you love these picks? Do you hate these picks? Do you just want to talk about how great Baker Mayfield is and how wrong I am that he's not an elite quarterback? Feel free to do that in the comments of this video. I answer all of those. If there's a player you want to know how they fit with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you can chuck that in the chat as well. I will be live next week with our Canadian armchair commentary, David Smith, for the 2025 Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, Indiana. We'll be doing lives every night. We'll be doing hits with ESPN Radio here in the Southeast. All this content from the Combine, it's all yours right here in the Sportsocracy. I'm Jeremy Green at ESPN Draft Nerd on Twitter. You can find me at NFLDraft.net for all of your content with the NFL Draft. This has been a 3-round mock draft for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I'm unapologetic. Cancel, yeah, you can try. You can't cancel what's been tonight. I ain't been had a shit, no silver spoon inheritance. Tired of trying to be what other people want me to be, and now you get what you see.